Hey guys, welcome back to building a basic website from scratch. In our last video, we talked about the About Us page. We created that page and just used all the different styles that we've used on the template itself that we've created to be able to create that About Us page. We also added all the content as far as that you will see in a resume, as far as experience, education, knowledge, all of these things that really help distinguish you from the people that you're kind of competing against in order to create, to get a position somewhere else, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to create our projects page. In that projects page, let's go ahead and duplicate our about page. I'm going to duplicate that, rename it, of course, and we're going to call it projects and .html. And then again, if we click on projects.html, then we have the content from that page there. All right, so now the next thing that we're going to do, just like what we did in the past, we're going to go ahead and remove everything that we've had or that we've created, but not from the index. Let's go ahead and switch over to the projects one. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and we have our container, all of this, everything inside of main we're going to get rid of because this should be a very, very simple layout for us to create. So let's go ahead and go and create div class of, this will be a container, div class of row. And here we're going to have an h1. And we're going to call it projects. And then again, we're kind of following some of the same idea, so we have learn more about John Smith. Here, what we're going to do is we have projects. We're going to do a paragraph with a class of h3, which is what we use on the other ones, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead and find that out real quick. All right. Right here, yes, right here, class of h3. So let's go into projects and say here, see all my, projects. And if we're in the projects page and we refresh, then here you can see all my projects. All right. Let's take a look at that. Okay, I forgot, not you, because you haven't forgotten. I'm pretty sure you caught it. So let's go ahead and do extra small 12. I forgot to add my column in here. Again, we have a container, a row, and a column. Okay, each one of those things are different. And that's why this happened here. So now we'll see all about my projects with the word projects underneath. What we're going to do, again, we still need kind of maybe like an intro paragraph or something, saying what the plan of this page is. Having information is always very important. As you're building this, hopefully you can see some of the other videos that we've created in this channel where we talk about, the inverted pyramid and writing for web and things like that. So maybe you can see that there. So we have projects there. And let's go ahead and change this here. So we have about, and here we're going to say projects. There you go, projects. And we're going to refresh this. And then here you go. We have projects. See all my projects. And then we have a little paragraph underneath talking about the projects that we're going to display. And then this is how simple this is going to be. What we're going to do is we're just going to use this right here. So take a look at this. We're going to create a new row in our projects page. Here we go. So we have our class container. Let's go ahead and create a new container here. Div class container, div class row. And then here, we're just going to paste this over and over and over again. Here you go. And when we refresh, then you should be able to see that we have all of our rows. Because we already did a lot of the work on the home page, then what's going to happen is that all of our containers that hold kind of a project information inside of it should be able to display kind of the same way that the home page displays. So these will be all side by side to each other, and then we'll be able to kind of display more information for each one of these projects. So we have project 1, project 2. All right, perfect. Let's actually make some changes here. And again, because we're using this component called project, then this would actually be reflected on the home page here, or on the projects page. See, so we have project 1, project 2, project 3. We can do project 4, and again, as many projects as you have available. In our case, I'm pointing them to project 1 only, but if you wanted to, or you have more projects, you can do that for project 2, project 3. If we wanted to be perfect about this and kind of focus more about it, so let's go ahead and we can change that to project 2. Again, that's because we actually do have the images for these, right? Project 2, project 2. I'm still going to keep project 1 because I am not going to... or yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Project 2 as well. Project 3, and then project 3. And then same thing down here. If you remember on the home page, we actually did project 2, we did it to the top. And project 3, we did the image to the bottom. Again, so project 1, project 2, that's to the top. And then project 3, we did it to the bottom. Let me go ahead and let's do the following. Even though I have the option to do this and kind of have multiple ones, let's go ahead and just kind of do one more just so that you can see what happens when it moves to the next row. If we were here, you can kind of see this, right? We refresh. And then after we've done this, then you'll be able to see our project 1, project 2, project 3, and then you'll have another project down here. Because again, we've already worked on our styles for how the columns break, then this should work as intended without really having to do anything as far as to make it responsive. Keep in mind, this is a 12 column grid right here. So it goes from the margin left and margin right of our container. And then you have this down here, which again, margin left, margin right, and we should have each one of the content areas for each one of these projects displaying here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. For some reason, my internet is very slow. So for our projects, again, this is how we're going to be displaying all of our projects. Again, we have here, we have a project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4, right? And then if we move them, make them responsive, see when we hit the next grid point, see how they all align. If you pay attention to this, when it's large, we have 4 columns each. So what happens is that 4, 8, 12. So by project 3, we've already completed the 12 grid system. So if we add another column, what's going to happen is going to move it to the bottom. And still, because of all the styles that we've applied, then that just helps it move to the next line, kind of what we've done right here, and kind of keeps it together. If we were to do another row, it would separate and you have 1, 2, 3, and then this one will be in the next row. And that's why we don't want to do that. So this should be a very simple page to create for you on this site as well. So let's take a look in here, inspect element. For some reason, my icon up there is not showing right. We have the color in here. Okay. So now that we're looking at this, you see, click open. Okay, I think it's probably an issue with Font Awesome on how it gets connected. It's probably not showing right now. Maybe that's because of my internet. So again, Probably when we refresh, I'm not going to make any changes to that right now. So just going to keep an eye on it. It should be working fine. But if you look in here, we have our grid system. And then the smaller that you make it, see, so it's now showing up properly. Very good. All right. So if you look in here, when we scroll down, now because these are grade 12, each one of these projects are showing properly down here. And that's how quickly we can build this page for our projects using our grid system. So on the next video, what I'm going to do, this one we really didn't use anything new. Everything that we did in this video was based on what we created on the past videos. So if you have any questions, leave a comment below and I'll be able to point you to which video to watch. But here we've already created our projects page where we have all of our projects kind of displayed. If we wanted to, we could potentially create maybe a sub navigation in here that talks about maybe one of the projects is video editing, the other project is for maybe website design, maybe the other one is for a mobile app or whatever it may be. So we might have different projects and I can maybe create filters, but I'm trying to keep it very, very, very basic. If there's something that you would like for me to create maybe later on, let me know, leave a comment below and I'll be more than glad to look at it. And based on availability, I'll go ahead and create those videos to help maybe if you want to create a filter for each one of these projects or whatever it may be. If we wanted to be super extra on this one, we could potentially add something else to help kind of differentiate each one of these sections. So I just thought about it. That's why I think it will be good. Maybe we can add it in here. So let's take a look at this. We're going to go into our wide image, right? And we have this here. So let's go ahead and look at this project. So let's say that the first project is web design, right? Web design project. Let's do it like we've been doing in the past. So web design. The second project, say, is an app design project. And then the last one maybe is a video design project. Okay. And the last one, again, we're going to say something like app design. Okay. So we have these 4 projects. We have each one of these design classes here. So let's go ahead and do the following. Let's go back to our styles. Let's go ahead and find the project. See, we have our project component here. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to do project. And then here we're going to do, what was it? So for example, we have web design, app design, and video design, okay? Web design, app design, video design. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to do this one called after. I believe it's going to be after. We'll look at it right now. After. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say position, absolute, top 0, right 0. And then we're going to do something like content and say something like design. Let's see what happens when we do this. Again, this is on the fly, working on this. So let's see what happens right here when we do just that. We hopefully won't have something that says design up here on the top right. But again, I am not 100% sure that that's going to work. Right now that the refresh works for us, then it should work as intended. All right, so if you can see it here, we actually have this section called design up here. Hopefully you guys can see it. We have the image. And then we have this after called design. Let's actually make sure that it goes inside of the image tag, because I would rather have it inside of the image tag. So let's go ahead and make that change here. So dot wide image. Okay, so now let's take it in here. Very good. So you see that we have that there, and it should say design. Now it's a little bit hard to see, so let's go ahead and add some styles to it. Again, we're gonna come back to our trusty look, see our colors for our branding, and let's see, be a good one. Let's go ahead and add this color, the darker one, the one that we use for our H1, and we're going to go back here and we're gonna do background color, and then we're going to select that color for this section. We're going to add padding of 0.25 EM, and let's go ahead and make the font size a little bit smaller. Font size, let's take a look over here. We did something over here, not here, but in our About Us page. For our scales. So let's take a look at what the size was for this one, just to make sure. We did a font size of 0.625 REM. We're going to use that same size over here, okay? So let's take a look in here. Font size, very good. And let's go ahead and make the color white for that text. So we're gonna close that. Close this area right here, and if we refresh, each one of these should say design. The top and bottom is 0.5, doesn't look very good, so 0.25 EM, so 0.25, so it's a little bit smaller from top to bottom. All right, or even smaller than that, right? And let's go ahead and do the line height to be 1 EM for our line height here. And okay, so now we need to bring it up to 0.25. All right, that looks a little bit better. So we have each one of them says design. So let's go ahead and fix that. Let's go ahead and we're going to copy these, paste them right underneath, and we're going to create a specific class or a specific style declaration for each one of those. So we're going to go in here and say content, and inside of here we're going to say web design. Close that. This one is going to say app design. And this one is going to say video or videography, for example. Okay. When we refresh, now you can kind of see, okay, this is a web design project, this is an app design project, this is a videography project, and here you have also videography app design project. I think that my styles may not necessarily be applying here because we haven't declared them as like that section. We haven't declared as a block element. So let's take a look in here. Display block overflow hidden. Okay, so it actually is that size. Okay, just making sure that that section right there had the proper spacing, proper size that we were expecting it to show. Okay, I think that's super neat. I think that that's really good. It shows from a quick glance, you can kind of see what each one of those projects is without having to read the description, and it helped that out. So now I feel comfortable on closing this video, and we'll move on to the next video. We'll actually create one of these project pages and seeing how we can actually use this and kind of display what we what these projects, each one of these projects entitles, and we'll have just a link to one of them. So again, this video, we really use our grid system how we intended to use. We've already created in the first index page and video, we created these projects modules or components. So now we're just reusing the content that we've created in the past. If you remember, also in our About Us page, we also reuse quite a lot of content that we've created in the past. Like for example, these lists right here, the on-style list, and also for our skills, we created each one of these components here for a knowledge component that now we're able to reuse throughout the rest of the site. So again, in the next video, we'll talk more about the recent projects. We'll create a recent projects page, and then later on, we're going to create that contact us page. That will give a little more information. So, all right, stay tuned for the next video, and this time for real. Happy coding.